Hey everyone, it's RT Mikado number 953 here, and today we're going to be explaining and theorizing the third episode of Forest Horrors called Our Worst Day at Sea. At the start of the video, it came out normally, with the captain is waiting at the port, watching other ships sail by. He was then greeted by a tugboat named Tenson's, and both start to have a conversation, with the captain finishing having a patrol, and the Starfleet had made a contract with the Royal Navy. Drollan, who was just have a bit of a slightest accident, was against with the idea. Captain warned Drollan that he should be more careful. But Drollan just lashed out at how could he be more careful if only just the slightest bump can make an explosion. This triggered Tenson's bad memories. Drollan asks how, and this is his story. Back in the Great War or World War I, Tenson used to be a tugboat for the Halifax port. On that day, a French cargo named SS Von Boulogne was coming in with a cargo of 60-ton gun cotton, 500 barrels benzene and TNT. It was coming in to stop at the harbour, but the Norwegian warship named SS Imo was exiting the harbour. The Mont Blanc saw, but the Imo did not. The French captain told his crew to go to the right to avoid it, but it was too late. The Imo smashed into the front of Mont Blanc, and when the Imos try to reverse, it ignites the cargo inside. Since the ship was carrying a lot of explosive cargo, the fire was quickly to spread, and the captains ordered his crew to abandon the ship. And that when it happened. Drollan felt very sorry for Tenson's experience, and Tenson's remind that while handling the ships full of explosive, it means life and death. But then Captain interrupted because he just realized something about Drollan. When he was handling the Navy ships, he will always be grumpy, and he asked why he always like that. And so it was Drollan's turn to explain. On July 3rd, 1940, he used to be a French tugboat on the port of Mers el-Khaber in Algeria. Okay, I want to tell you guys something here is that I'm also a historian, and this incident was all too familiar to me. So to cut the pace, I'll let this video explain to you. Drollan was nearby the explosion, and he was later found by one of the British warships, and was taken to Britain where he was repaired and worked there. And that is the true reason why he hated the Navy. After he finished, it was time for Captain to go on another patrol. However, Tenson's and Drollan had already told about their worst experience, and now it was the captain's turn. He was a little bit hesitant because he thought that his story was not as compared as Drollan and Tenson's, but Drollan insisted that he should tell because that is the way he made a peace. So, he told them. A few years ago, he was tasked to rescue a swimmer that got lost in the storm. By the time he got there, he's already dead. Both Drollan and Tenson felt sorry for the captain's experience. It may not be worse as Tenson's or Drollan, but they do know how it feels. The captain said that it's just part of the job, and finally let it peace. Soon, Mr. Starr called both Tenson and Drollan to get back to work, and so both tugs resumed their duties. But as they left, however, they did not realize that the captain was actually lying. And then, the scenes cut to Captain's flashback. On that day, he was tasked to escort one of the warships that's just outside the harbor. They don't know what they are or who it is, but they need to go and escort. They arrived where they should be, and a thick fog had already rolled in. Finally, the ship showed itself. The captain then go and escort the ships. The ships looks eerily quiet, and there's not much activity happening. His driver called for someone, but never got a response. His driver had decided to go and inspect the ships in case if anything goes wrong. But after he got in there, all he saw was the dead bodies. The captain asked what happened, and then
What was up there?
You don't need to know.
Come on. Was it any worse than that attack on the harbor last year?
Yes, we don't want to get involved.
Captain? Captain!
he was then awoke by his driver who just got back from the break. And he told that he had to go back and patrol. And so, he stopped thinking about his flashback and then went off to do his work. And that is the end of the story. Now, from what I gathered from the captain's flashback, it must be something like an animal or creatures inside that ships and had attacked all the crews of that ships. And not much after that. This episode is also placed on the Forest Horrors playlist on day like 3. So there could be a connection in the future videos. Anyway, we came to the end of the videos, and I gotta say, might be the shortest explaining and theorizing videos I've ever had yet. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next theorizing and explaining videos.